take the cape off and let go of that savior complex. You have to unpack the emotional roots of why you feel like you gotta be there for everybody and save everybody. A lot of it is rooted in trauma, validation, and identity. It's an identity crisis, and I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from a point of view that I am too guilty of. I've had a savior complex for as long as I can remember. You hear me? Like it feels good when you in it. It feels noble. It feels like you doing the right thing by always being there for people, helping people, when you in it. But what I think a lot of people, a lot of us who have worn a cape, or if you're currently wearing a cape, is that it oftentimes leads to burnout. And the only person that get hurts in that position is you. You got to understand that when you wearing the cape and you trying to be Superman or Superwoman, you can't heal what's not yours. And oftentimes we put the weight of the world on our shoulders. Oftentimes we put the weight of what everyone else is going through and dealing with on our shoulders, and we try to fix it. You hear me? Like there's a difference between, and we have to understand it, that there's a difference between support and sacrifice. Support is just that. You can lend a helping hand when you can. Sacrifice is when like you literally put yourself in a position to lose. When there's no positive outcome for you or the person or persons that you're trying to essentially be there for and help. You hear me? You got to keep that in mind, that over helping can also like rob other people of their own growth. You hear me? Like you heard that phrase that sometimes we get in the way of people lessons and stuff like that that they supposed to learn. That's what we do when we try to take over and we try to be that sacrifice for them so they don't have to face that hardship, so they don't have to see that hardship and what it's like. Nah, sometimes you have to let people hit rock bottom, face plant on the ground just so they can grow. And a lot of times we get in the way of that. We start sacrificing ourselves, whether that's giving up time, and it's no longer support. It's literally you pacifying them. You literally like taking it out of their hands and putting it in yours. So now there's no lesson to be learned. There's nothing for them to gain from it. But you burnt out because you juggling and dealing with your own stuff in life. And now you're also dealing with their stuff. You have to let people learn from their mistakes or whatever it is that they're going through. Sometimes all you can do is be the and support a person. You can't do everything and be everything for people. And it's just as simple as that. It's not to be mean or to be nasty, but we have to be realistic and understand that we're living in a real world. You hear me? Like there's an emotional cost of carrying, like literally carrying other people. And the person that's doing the carrying pays the ultimate price. Not the other people, not the other person. Like, you constantly trying to rescue people, and anytime they call you running, you dropping everything that you're doing. You could be in the middle of cooking your dinner for the day, and they call with an emergency, and you drop everything. You done turned off your food and left your house, and now you run into them, and now you drained of energy, you drained of peace, and sometimes even purpose, because you start to question like, am I only here for this person to save them? You hear me? You have to recognize when it becomes controlling and not care, because oftentimes people will use you in that way. People will use you in that way. They will literally tell themselves like, well, I know so and so will drop anything for me, and I'm not talking about in a nice, sweet manner, like they know that you will look out for. I'm talking about like them literally using you for that purpose of they know no matter what, no matter how bad the situation is, what time of day, what time of night it is, you're going to drop everything and go run to them. You're literally carrying them like a child that does not have to be carried. You're paying the ultimate sacrifice for grown adults who have to learn to walk on their own and deal with conflict resolution and deal with their issues without necessarily disturbing you. You hear me? Like you have to set boundaries, because what is ultimately, a lot of it is a boundary issues. Like, boundaries aren't abandonment, and I think sometimes as a cape wearer, you hear me? We feel like if we put up a boundary, then we're abandoning that person, and sometimes that person or persons will make us feel bad for like setting up a boundary, and like make us feel like we just giving up on them and quitting them. They'll guilt you into, you know, thinking that you this just terrible person, but you have to learn to say no without being guilty. You shouldn't have to turn off your food while you cooking, or stop your date night or your rest day because so and so, who always got something going on, got something going on. Because so and so, who seem like every week, 2 or 3 times a week, is something, and they can't decide how they don't know how to change the tire. So instead of them calling the insurance company or calling Yearman AAA or something like that, they call you, and you drop everything. You drop everything. And ultimately that puts you in a bad spot. Because the minute you say no and say, hey, look, not today, I can't help you this time. Now you're the bad guy. But you got to be okay with that. You got to be okay with being a bad guy. You got to be okay with being a villain in some people's stories. Regardless of how much you've helped them, how long you've been there, how much you've done for them over the years, you have to be okay with that. Stepping back sometimes is an act of love. Sometimes you have to remove yourself because you love them, because you don't want to get in their way of growth. Because if you keep carrying them, they'll never learn to walk. They'll never learn to fly. They'll never learn how to spread their wings and do it on their own. Again, boundaries are not abandonment. And sometimes stepping back from people is an act of love. And sometimes love hurts. It's simple as that. You're not doing it to be malicious. You're doing it because you care. Like, you hear me? Like, the unfortunate part is that, like, a lot of our identities are wrapped up into that cape, into wanting to save everybody, and that's a trap. It's a trap to wrap yourself up in that, because then you start to question, like, who are you without the cape? Who are you without being there for everybody, running around like a chicken with your head cut off, tiring yourself out, draining yourself to the point where you're not sleeping? You hear me? Like, you start to question, like, who are you without that? And you have to know when to let go of those roles that no longer serve you. You have to reclaim your worth beyond what you're able to give. And that can be your time, your ear to listen to, your finances, whatever it may be. You hear me? Don't get caught up in that identity trap of wearing the cape and trying to be Superman or Superwoman, because you are more than just that cape. And that's why I encourage you to get to a point to put it down. You don't want that to be your entire existence. I didn't put the cape down until my late 20s. I was in my late 20s when I finally realized that I was doing too much. I was overstepping myself. I was extending myself too far. And again, the only person that suffered was me. I was always there for everybody. Anybody needed a word of encouragement. They needed money. they were going through something, I would literally drop everything I was doing, sometimes literally driving hours to go and rescue somebody from a bad situation. And ultimately, I mean, there's no reward for it. Not to say that you necessarily look for one, but when you try to reach out to those same people because you may be need a little help, not have to be financially, but just in any way, maybe you need to talk. They can't help you. They're not there. The worst part is when I started to say no. When I put those boundaries up, I finally started to say no. I took the cape off and it started to like literally like pull myself away from certain things. When certain conversations and topics came up, I removed myself. And a lot of those people are no longer a part of my life. You know what I mean? And I realized that putting that cape down and taking it off was the best decision I could have done. And again, it took me into my late 20s to realize that. Don't be like me. And if you are still currently that person who's wearing that cape, man, it's cool to take it off. I promise you, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna have some mixed emotions about it in the beginning. You're gonna struggle because for so long it was a part of your identity. So with that part of your identity no longer being there, it's gonna be a little difficult to adjust. But I promise you, the more you stick it out and the more you stick to it, and the longer you keep that cape off, the better off you will be. You have to choose impact over exhaustion. And that's your entire life, man. That's your entire life. Like you can't live your entire life being exhausted because you're trying to carry other people. Like show up with intentions, but not obligations for people. Show up with intentions, but not obligations for people. Because at the end of the day, you're not obligated to do anything for anybody. It's cool to say no. If it's a bad time, say it's a bad time. Don't do it and then be disgruntled about doing whatever it is that you agreed to when you could have said no. Like, you have to remember who you are. You have to remember that you too are a person. You too are human just like they're human. You're not a robot. You know what I mean? And sometimes we carry so much, we take on so much. Like we would literally be trying to help 6 different people at the same time. You trying to look out for mama, auntie, grandma, your sister, your best friend, your classmate. You know what I mean? It's so many people that's dependent on you, and that's not cool because you can't be everything and anything to anybody else if you're not nothing to you. Stop extending yourself and overextending yourself to people. Don't feel bad for putting up those boundaries. Don't feel bad for putting yourself first. Put the cape down, man. If you're going to save anybody, save yourself. Save yourself first. So that's my message for the day. You hear me? I appreciate you for tuning in to another episode of A Quick Little Word podcast. It's your boy Chris Wright. Be sure to check the descriptions for everything. The book is linked in the description. A Quick Little Word. It's a daily devotional. Check that out. Pick that up. The clothing brand, Facients.com. Be sure to look at that. Check that out. You can get you something nice. I promise. It's something for everybody on there. You hear me? So, again, thank you for tapping in. Share this with somebody. Like, comment, the whole nine, man. Somebody need to hear this message, or maybe you just need to hear it on repeat. So until next time, peace, love, and happiness.